Good morning, Wall Street winners. It is Thursday, April the 10th. And if we take a look at the Bloomberg app, what we're going to see is that the markets and the futures in particular, after a great close to the day yesterday, after the president came out and announced he's going to pause tariffs, the reciprocal tariffs for 90 days, the futures are all in the red again. So it looks like it's not a continued rally as I had thought we might see after market closed yesterday, but instead it's a bit of a pullback and kind of typical for what we've been seeing lately. So it would have been a good day at the end of the day yesterday to buy some put options at or near where the markets closed. That strategy still would have worked. I didn't implement that strategy yesterday, thinking that the market would have gone a little bit higher this morning, but it seems like it's moving in the opposite direction because there's still a great deal of concern if you look at the narrative around the damage that these tariffs and tariff announcements have done to the U.S. economy and what impact that's going to have on business, on jobs, on consumer confidence, on prices and the inflation that will be created around the jump in prices, particularly on automobiles, which are still in play for a 25% increase. Steel and aluminum still in play for tariff increases. The 10% reciprocal tariff baseline still in play. So I think people are starting to realize that, yes, although the crazy mathematical equation driven, which was nonsense. It was just a ChatGPT decision, which was a mistaken one from ChatGPT as to what the tariff rate should be by looking at the trade surplus and whatever. It doesn't matter how they came up with it. It was just a nonsense number. But those have all been paused for 90 days to allow countries to come to the US and negotiate. So we'll see what happens. We're going into earnings season. We've started to hear from earnings. We just heard from Delta yesterday. We're going to hear from some of the big banks tomorrow. And I think for the most part, earnings will still be on track, as will revenue for this quarter. However, where we're going to have some concern is over future guidance. And like Delta yesterday, not providing future guidance or future numbers, I think we're going to see that from a number of other companies. And if a company does come out and provide future guidance and it's positive and they achieve that, I think they will be the winner of the year in terms of the stock market and stock appreciation. Those that come out and give a number and miss it will obviously be hurt. So we're in a time where it's definitely a stock picking market where you want to pick strong stocks with good cash flow, good balance sheet, maybe less tariff reliant, have some options when it comes to tariffs, have the margin to push through some of the tariff increases, the tariff tax increase, to the consumer or to the end customer. Look at, for example, NVIDIA, who has margins of 54%. So they could take 10% out of that and still have a 44% margin and pass that along to their customer. Now, maybe they only pass 5% along and they up the price by 5%, but because they also kind of own the market. So that's one example, but those are the types of companies that you want to be looking for that are going to be able to navigate this economic storm. So that's where we are in terms of news and headlines. Let's take a look at the Yahoo Finance app. You can see yesterday just the spike there and continued upward trajectory in those markets was phenomenal after the Truth Social post and then the pause to the tariffs. Crude, which was down in the 56 range, I think yesterday, like it was horrifically low. Yeah, 55 range is now up. Crude futures May 25th at below 61. So it had a huge pop yesterday. Again, for no particular reason. That was a bit of a shocker there. Obviously, the impact of tariffs will have an impact on producers. Anyway, it moved upwards. It's now falling downwards. Everything's coming back a little bit, not as much as it went up, thankfully, but it is coming back a little bit. The Nasdaq is down almost 360 points, and the VIX, which yesterday got up to close to 60, is now back below 37. Still high, and I would have thought it might have stayed a little higher. I mean, it was hovering in the 50s for a good part of the day yesterday, and it still kind of feels like it should be in the 40s based on where we are with all the uncertainty. And that's one of the challenges here, because when the VIX is up, indicating risk sentiment 30 days out and uncertainty, and we have only a 90-day pause for tariff negotiations, although 90 days, a lot can happen, we're still going to see the price of goods go up in those 90 days. And we're unlikely, in my opinion, to see consumers increase their spending significantly and increase their confidence in the US, because with this, we're also likely in the very near term to start seeing job cuts and job losses. And if we see that, it's going to be a compounding effect, and it's going to drive the economy lower and the stock market lower as well. And then we have the other aspect of this, which is international travel. And based upon how Donald Trump has handled this, a lot of people have been very, very turned off with the U.S. And I think I know they're considering or have changed their travel plans. So they're not going to be traveling to the U.S. U.S. travel is going to go down significantly. Purchases of U.S. goods will go down significantly. That's going to have ripple effects into the long term that are very, very negative for the U.S. So I think the way this whole thing has been done has just been a bit of a cluster from the beginning, and history will show that. So we'll have to wait to see it play out. But it's definitely having an impact. If we scroll down through our health and retail, most of the stocks here are in the red after a great end of the day yesterday. Transport as well, taking a hit. We've got oil and utilities all taking a hit this morning and in the red, dropping from where they climbed to yesterday. And then we've got technology, and for the most part, it too is in the red, pulling back from some of the big gains that we saw in technology yesterday. So again, if you bought in before or just after the announcement, you probably made some money. If you haven't sold, it might be a good thing to do to sell first thing in the morning and crystallize those gains, never knowing where we're going here. And then we get down into the financials. And these are the ones that I'm paying the most attention to today, because tomorrow morning, obviously, we're going to have some earnings announcements. So APO had a great day, great run up, but it's pulling back. I mean, all the financials today are pulling back, even going into earnings. So what will be interesting to watch is Morgan Stanley today and JP Morgan in particular. Also Bank of America, which announces next week. We'll have a couple of big announcements tomorrow. I'm focusing on JP Morgan and Morgan Stanley, and just watching to see what movement those stocks make today going into earnings tomorrow, because I do believe that their earnings will be fairly strong, and they should have been able to really kill it on trading with the volatility in the market in the last quarter. And that should help the bottom line. Their wealth practices should be doing very well. I mean, assets under management has clearly in the last couple of weeks shrunk, but that wouldn't have been a part of their quarter. So I think the numbers are going to be positive out of the financials, and it should give them a bit of a lift and a bump. So when I see them dropping in the pre-market, I'm thinking if it continues to drop during the day, maybe buying a call for close to in the money around where they close at the end of the day, and see if you get a little bump tomorrow. I might price that, take that call out a week. I may not have it expire tomorrow. I may buy it, say, on a April 18th expiry, so that I've got a little bit of cover there. But that would be my strategy for the day, is to take a look at those. Good luck in your trades today. If you like the videos, please hit the like and subscribe button, and I hope you're enjoying them. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them. Happy day.